What's going on, guys? In this video we are going to be talking about the reason why I love drifting so much, how I got into it, and why I think you guys should get into it. So let's get into the reason why I even own this car. So long story short, the way I got into drifting was, it actually started when I was a kid. As a kid, my dad always brought home option videos, so watching drifting in Japan was really cool to me. Also, I enjoyed it because I was actually into RC drift cars as a kid, and I was fortunate enough to have my dad be able to support me with this and buy me the RC cars for every time I did something well. It was pretty much, he didn't just give me the car every time I did something, it did good in school or whatnot. He would give me a new car or help me get a new body or whatnot. But yeah, as a kid, I was never really into action figures, never really into video games. I was always into outdoor sports, camping, and playing with my RC drift car. That was like my favorite toy as a kid, my RC drift car. That's what started the whole love for drifting for me, and that's what kind of started the whole progression into where I am today. Pretty much, yeah. Drifting was, I don't want to say in my blood, but it started from when I was a kid, and as expected, it traveled on to drifting. Hopefully this car soon, but just drifting in general today. Um, Pretty much my story. My dad helped me buy my first car, the E36. We fixed it up from the ground up. It was running, but it needed new bushings. The interior was shot. Paint was alright. So we went ahead and replaced all the bushings with OEM bushings because my dad is more of like an OEM repair type guy. He wants to make everything as good as brand new from factory. Obviously for comfort reasons. He wasn't really into the stamped cars, the super low cars, but he was into like slightly modifying them, for a lack of better words. But we made that E36 bone stock again, and then we lowered it with some Bilstein shocks and H&R lowering springs, and put some Style 5s in there, and the whole M3 body kit, the full M3 9 yards. Pretty much everything was M3 on that car besides the motor itself, unfortunately. But we got into that. That's when I kind of got more into the cars and started learning how to work on cars. And behind my back, because my dad didn't want me to drift this car because it was decently clean when we were done with it, I started drifting in little parking lots, every parking lot that I could find. And sooner or later, drifting tends to take its toll on your car if you don't take the preventative maintenance stuff, whatever. And the car was starting to show signs of wear as far as drifting, and my dad noticed it, and I got in a lot of trouble, mainly because I did it behind my dad's back when he told me not to. And I wasn't supposed to, but I did it anyways, long story short. My dad believes that, he believed that a BMW shouldn't be a drift car just because of the BMW name. So my dad believed that, BMWs shouldn't be drift cars because of the weight and just how expensive parts are for that car. And he told me that if I want to start drifting, I have to get a Japanese car because that's what's meant for drifting. So I said, alright. I saved up my money, I sold the E36, I gave my dad his half or his share, whatever my dad put into the E36, I gave it back to him, saved my money, and I picked up a 1992 Nissan 240SX hatchback. And with that car, I was fortunate enough to, keep in mind I'm in high school, so I didn't have a job. The way I made money was buying and selling cars with my dad, which I made decently good money, and that's how I did the stuff to the 240 that I did. But I was fortunate enough for the car to already have full suspension control arms, BC coilovers, and pretty much at the time that was all I needed. All I did to the car was put a Duraflex body kit on there. I did two different kits, a Type U kit and the BN style kit, and also had their wide over fenders. I don't know what style they were, but pretty much I put a body kit on it, painted it, put some wheels, and called it a day. That's all I did to the car. I made it look good. Suspension wise, it was all there. Wheels were already there. Well, I did buy another set of wheels. Long story short, I didn't do anything to that car besides make it look pretty. And along came the opportunity for my first drift event. Me, Alez, and Evan actually went to our first drift event together, and we came to the part where we actually had to prep our cars. And this whole time we've all had open diff cars, just kind of power sliding through corners in the parking lot. So we're prepping our cars. We all got our diffs welded for the first time, and we went on to the track, had our first track day, and it was actually, I wouldn't say very successful, because after that track day, I blew up my kit, not a big deal. Alez's strut tower in the rear collapsed, which could have been already collapsed, we don't know. It was a new chassis, so we're not too sure. And Evan blew up his motor. But it was really successful in the terms of it opened our eyes towards drifting even more. And we fell in love with it, or I should say, I think I speak for everyone when I say we all fell in love with it even more after that day. Did one more event by myself, because no one, everyone's car was messed up, and I was the only one with a car. So I was like, you know what, I want to drive. I'm just gonna go out and do the Black Friday event. And that event, I met a lot of cool people. I was worried about going by myself because I wouldn't have any of my friends there. But one of the main reasons why I love drifting so much is everyone's so friendly, everyone's so nice to you, and everyone wants to help. And I met a lot of cool people that day when I went by myself, and I don't regret doing it whatsoever. After that, kind of brought the car back. Car was doing okay, but I started to have little issues with it. Believe it or not, my AC condenser, or like the pump, fell off the block. I was driving one day to the skate park and I hear this weird noise, and I'm like, what the heck? Pull over, I look over, and the AC block is just sitting there, held in by the sway bar, I believe. It just fell off. So I went ahead and pulled that off, and the car started having issues. What do you know? Tried to fix the issues, couldn't work my way around it. Didn't know too much about motors or swaps or how to work on an engine at all at that time. So ended up selling the 240, and I picked up the RX-7 FC, which all of you guys should know about, because that is my main car on this channel, or at least was the main car. Pretty much, long story behind that is I bought it bone stock. I've always wanted an FC. I finally got one. Bone stock, running for like $2,000, I think, which is super cheap now that I think about it, because FCs in terrible condition are going for like $3,000 now. It's ridiculous. But picked it up, running and driving, drove it around stock for a little bit. Keep in mind, I'm still in high school at this point, don't have a job yet, and I actually had a lot of money left over from when I sold the 240, so I went ahead and took a trip over to PBM, picked up every single thing that they offered for the RX-7 besides the angle kit, because I don't believe that you need angle when you're learning how to drift. Blah blah blah. We'll get into that in another video. But we built the suspension. Car was built, as in suspension wise, I guess you can say. Solid bushings, control arms, coilovers, the full nine as far as suspension components. And we drove around like that for a little bit, and then just driving the car, daily driving it, and then we finally graduated high school. At this point, I finally got a job at Jamba Juice, and saved up enough money. I actually ended up selling my truck as well, so that helped me with some money. And I finally bought the whole body kit for the RX-7. I finally got the vented hood, because I used to always want a vented hood but never could afford it. Bought the whole BN style kit from Duraflex. Got the whole over fender kit from Duraflex. And that's when I want to say the build really took off in the RX-7, because I started working, I had a little more money, and RX-7 really, it changed. It had its phase 2 of the build, I guess you could call it. And from then, it's when the build really took off, when I really learned a lot, because I started working. I had a lot more money to work with, and a lot more time, I should say. So it was rad, drifted it. I think we did events like every month or every other month or something, and that's when I progressed in driving a lot, met a lot of new people, learned how to drive, and learned a lot about building cars during that time frame. And it got to the point where we did the JZ swap. The JZ swap was needed because the rotary kind of took a shit on me. Not gonna lie, it took a shit on me. It still ran, but was having issues. Didn't like it. It was low in power. The rotary was just it was its time to go. So we did the JZ swap, built the car, RX-7. You guys know the whole RX-7 JZ build. We got rid of it, unfortunately, due to me just being upset with what happened with the oil pan, and me really wanting to get into a new chassis and starting new. So that's where this car comes along. Sorry, the sun is in the way. That's where this car comes along. This car, like I said, I plan to build it into a competition car, and not because I'm trying to compete at the moment, just because I want it to be ready for any sort of event that I go to pass tech, to be drivable, to be functioning, but I still want it to look very good. That's my main thing. Rarely do you see me go to the track with my car not looking good, not because I don't drive the car, but it's sort of kind of a pride thing that I have. I think that your car should always look good. You can go out and destroy it, but as soon as you get back, fix it, because at the end of the day, drifting is an artwork. Your car is a piece of art, and it kind of, to me, reflects against your personality. I like to be clean. I like my things to look nice, so I transfer it into my cars. My cars, I try to make it look as nice as possible and keep it as nice as possible, but still use them how they were intended to. So, yeah, that's kind of my story behind drifting. And now let's talk about why I think you should get into it. Long story short, I think you should get into drifting because of the people. You meet a lot of good people, you make a lot of new friends. The car community is so huge that you meet a lot of people in the car community itself. But in drifting, you meet a lot of, you meet a lot more people that you have in common because you guys both love cars and you both love drifting. A lot of my friends that I've met are because of cars. All my friends from high school, all the people that I actually kept in touch with and I've become really close friends with, is because of cars. We didn't even know each other before then, but once we got our licenses around all the same time, we show up to school in our cars and we're like, oh shit, this guy's into cars too, and we started talking and we became closer than ever. I met a lot of guys at the track that now I'm really close friends with, and none of this would have happened without drifting. Without drifting, I wouldn't have made all these friends, I wouldn't have made all these connections that I made with people, and it's a very good experience to get into. Yes, it's a little expensive, but if you can afford it, I think it's really worth it to try, dip your feet in it, see how you like it, because if it's your thing and you like doing it, you're going to meet a lot of people that have the same interests as you, and you'll meet a lot of people who really want to socialize with people, for lack of better words, with people in the same interests. So, long story short, the main reason why I love drifting so much is not because it looks cool, it does this, it does this. Main reason is because all the great people that you meet. And second reason, I don't really talk about this that much, but as a kid, my dad used to tell me, because if you guys don't know, I used to go dirt biking, camping, and I did the whole off-road thing as a kid. That's what my dad was into. He loved off-road things. He used to tell me as a kid that he loves going down the flat, straight dirt road and just go full pin, full throttle down the straight. And through that time frame of holding the throttle fully open, hauling ass down the dirt road, all his stress tends to, well, not tends. When he's full throttle down the road, all his stress releases from him and goes away. And that's kind of where I fell in love with drifting, is when I'm on the track, it might sound a little corny, whatever, blah, but it's the truth. When I'm on the track drifting, I think about nothing else besides me in the car and where I want to put the car. All stress and everything that has been bugging me throughout my time or whatever, it's gone. That's why I love drifting so much, because of the people and because it's a stress reliever to me. Yes, it's a lot of money, it's stressful to get your car there, but once you're actually there, once you're driving, it's just like my dad with the full pin down the dirt road. When I'm going full pin down that straight up for the entry, all my stress is gone. Everything is relieved. I feel lighter, for lack of better words. Not to sound corny, not to be cheesy, but it's the truth. This is why I love drifting so much. It's my stress reliever, and I love all the people that I met because of drifting. So, that being said, that is it for this video. Hope you guys learned a little bit more about me, learned a little bit more about why I love drifting, and hope you guys decide to try to give it a shot, because it's a very great sport to get into. It's really fun. You meet a lot of great people, and who knows, maybe it can be your stress reliever as well. So leave in the comments down below what you guys think. Tell me why you got into drifting. Tell me why you love drifting so much. So that being said, peace out, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.